think about this in many different ways. So, and essentially what you're talking about is the invisible qualities, and it's a bit like your personality is more on the outside. It's how people experience you. So it's an invisible quality, but there are elements that are identifiable. So let me explain it this way. So here you are, you're a leader in an organisation, and that's kind of like the social definition of your role as leader. And if you are the leader, you could be a bureaucrat, you could be the faceless public servant, you could be the rational leader. So it's a lifeless definition. However, if you're an exocet missile as a leader, or if you're empathetic as a leader, this is what people experience. And so executive presence relates to how you enact your role, and therefore how people experience you. Like, when they're with you, do people go away inspired, or do they go away feeling criticised and judged as if they're not quite up to it? Are you someone, when you're with people, they're able to bring all their capacities forward, or do they feel micromanaged by you or being told what to do? So having executive presence means there's a positive mutual connection. So people experience you being positive to them and being interested, you're interested, they're interested in you, and are alert to you and what your contributions are and what the possibilities of you and the organisation are, and you're aware of them and want to hear from them, want to be guided by them, want to have a connection with them. And that's what gets worked out in everyday interactions. And so they're invisible qualities, and there's many aspects to executive presence, and the 5 that I mostly relate to is relationships. So you're known for positive relationships. As I say, people want to hear from you. You're known for authenticity, so people get to know the real you. They're not getting to know some facade, or they know, and it's not about being perfect, they know you're human. They probably know what your foibles are, and they know that you know. And that is comforting to a lot of people. And it's not something you particularly explain to them, but you have a way of being that you know what your weak areas are, and you know how to work with people who also have their own foibles. The next part is your identity and how you express your identity and what that means to you. So you know where you've come from and who's important to you, and how you've arrived at where you are, and how you express your identity. And the next area is your reputation, which it's an invisible thing, but it's how people think about you and how they relate to you. So if you've had failures in your background and things that haven't worked out, people probably know that, but they remain positive to you, like it's not an area where you get wiped off the map. So they also know for the results that you've produced, and that people have positive experiences when they're working with you. The other area is the area of credibility, and this does relate to trust. Do you do what you say you're going to do, and do you produce results? So you're likely to have a track record, and it's not something you particularly trumpet, but you do know how to use your experience, your wisdom, your insights, and that people can rely on those things that you bring forward. They are things that work. You are able to express yourself. So while it's invisible, it's possible to identify these aspects and to bring them to the fore. And then there is another part to executive presence. So if, for example, you're extremely insightful and highly knowledgeable, if those things are to the fore, that might not necessarily draw people to you, unless you're the Chief Information Officer or the CFO. But there's also the CFO, who is the person everyone talks to, or the CFO that has quite a significant insight into what's working in the organisation and what's not, and we'll talk to you about that. So then you meet a CFO who's wise, empathetic and thoughtful, and those things are to the fore. And the knowledge and expertise, of course that's used, but it's not necessarily the main thing in the relationship. So that's a territory we're working with in executive presence.